Alright, just started recording, so whenever you're ready.
I'm hydrating. Okay. History repeats itself in more ways than one. By Friendly the Flower. Chapter 9. Inside a Flower's Mind. Clover woke up in a completely dark void, disoriented. He slowly got on his feet and adjusted his hat before standing upright. Then he remembered what just happened. That bastard of a flower just murdered Kanako in front of him, and then tried killing him to take his soul. Clover wasn't sure if he succeeded. He was still conscious, and felt the essence of his being still inside of him. He had no idea where he was.
Where the hell am I?
Ninja pal. Miss me? Not like you can hurt me here anyway, of course.
What did you do?
Well, I was trying to absorb your soul and all, but I guess it's putting up more of a fight than I thought. I really thought killing your stupid fox girlfriend would have crushed your spirits.
Shut up! Never letting you take my soul. I don't care if you're in control. I will bring you justice.
There you go again, spouting on about your so-called justice. Buddy, you're in desperate need of a reality check. It's too bad. I really had the most confidence for you in this run. But honestly, the moment you find the chance for a loving, happy family, you pathetically back out of your own noble mission. Wouldn't be the first time, of course, Clover.
What the hell are you talking about?
Alright, fine. I'll explain everything to you. I suppose I do owe you for interrupting your cute high school romance moment earlier. I mean, what do you think this is, a dating sim? No. Where do I begin?
Flowey took a deep breath as he began explaining.
When you fell into the underground the first time, I never actually interacted with you at all. Just observed you from afar to see how it would go. But every single time the same stupid charade would happen. You'd try to leave the ruins, but Toriel would convince you otherwise, before you'd spend the rest of your days with her. And, well, eventually with some interference, I did get you to leave the ruins. But then other problems arose. Because of course, no matter how far you got, you just kept on dying again and again and again. After all those runs, you never even reached Asgore a single time. And because of that, I had to change your path as early as possible. So, I rigged that puzzle in the ruins. The rest is history.
Clover looked bewildered, to say the least, but it slowly began making more and more sense. It was all coming back to him now. He remembered seeing himself in places he's never been to before, dying countless painful deaths to obstacles he never encountered. As Flowey finished explaining, he began tightening his hold on Clover's soul, putting more effort into overpowering Clover's willpower to eventually take his soul. Clover began to feel his mind slipping away, almost as if he was beginning to forget himself.
I'll admit, we did have a real good run together, buddy. It was almost fun. Well, no, it wasn't. But it's a shame it had to end this way. But you know, as I said before, really, this is all your fault. You should have done your job. But look at you, still holding on, I see. You're quite stubborn, aren't you? Just like me. Well, it's fine. Go ahead and resist. It makes things so much more fun for me.
flower appeared in front of someone, and someone summoned 5 white pellets behind him.
Now, remember what I taught you? Dodge the bullets.
As he dodged the slow-moving pellets, someone felt his consciousness slip away, now becoming a pure yellow soul with nothing but the will to survive. Flowey's grin widened as the environment around them began shifting. Someone found themselves in a colorless void with incomprehensible textures, with no one but Flowey right in front of them. He merely chose to fight, but every time he tried, time went back just before he selected it. Someone furiously kept trying to raise his weapon to no avail. Flowey laughing in a mocking tone as he tried to do so. With no other options, all someone could do was cry. But he had no eyes. Flowey sent several magic white pellets at someone's soul, which he swiftly dodged. All he could think now was outlasting Flowey's attacks. Once his attack finally ended, someone had taken quite a bit of damage. He checked his act options, and a flicker of hope appeared inside him as he chose to endure, recovering a good amount of his health. Then Flowey sent a rather large attack at someone, sending spiky pellets everywhere. And the entire environment shifted again as someone found themselves in a place that looked like the ruins. But his only instinct was to run as far as he could. As he ran, some vines shot up from the ground around someone, which he had to really be careful with. By the time he made it near the end, his HP was nearly depleted, but then someone sped up as he saw a bright yellow save star and quickly touched it, restoring all of his HP. Someone found themselves back in the nightmarish gray void as they faced Flowey again. The flower's voice constantly rang in his head, repeating lines he's already heard before, along with incoherent phrases in between. The noises were really getting to someone, as he kept dodging Flowey's attacks, causing him to take some damage. Desperate, someone checked his act options again and was relieved to see one of them was actually helpful. Steeling himself, Clover held on to his hope, recovering some of the damage he'd taken. After another large-scale attack from Flowey, he was once again transported away, now landing in a place that looked like Snowden. Once again, Clover began running, dodging any sharp vines that came his way. Flowey was nearly absorbing his soul, which made him lose sight of who he was. But he was slowly getting his soul back. He just had to keep pushing. With just barely enough HP to spare, Clover touched the bright yellow save star and continued fighting Flowey once again. But instead of seeing Flowey again, Clover laid his eyes on a human girl in a ballerina outfit. Her face was completely blown off, censored out by a few glitchy squares that covered it. Her clothes were soaked in what seemed like her own blood, as well as being covered in dust. It was the same human girl that attacked Kaneko that day. As Clover was trying to process this, she lunged forward and swiftly kicked Clover's chest, pushing him back hard. As he got back up, the girl began speaking in a glitched voice. You scared the robot that killed me, and then you have abandoned us. So you never cared about me, have you, Clover? Clover felt the chaos in his mind intensify as he heard those words. He knew the robot killed her in cold blood, but it wasn't his fault. But then he considered the pain and fear she felt as Axis brutally murdered her, along with the fact he chose to abandon her and the 4 other humans. Clover felt his mind screaming. Flowey's mocking voice ringing in his head over and over. Feeling overwhelmed, Clover tried to calm himself down. Looking at his act option in desperation, he chose to gather up his courage and use his strength to persist, recovering all the damage he had taken. The glitched shell of a human attacked Clover again, but with some white pellets mixed in to make it more difficult. This only confirmed it for Clover as he dodged her swift kicks. This wasn't that human girl, but just Flowey pretending to be her. After her attack ended, Clover found themselves once again transported away, now into an area that looked like it was inside the steamworks. He wasted no time, running as fast as he possibly could while dodging the spiky vines that shot up from the ground around him. As Clover ran, he could hear running footsteps behind him as he looked back to see the same glitched human running after him. This only encouraged Clover to run faster, not wanting to let this fake catch up to him. As Clover began getting closer to the yellow save point, the glitch human spoke again in a louder voice. Get back here! You can't escape! Not listening to her, Clover lunged for the bright yellow save star and felt not only their HP being restored again, but their consciousness as well. But instead of being teleported back to the area where he fought Flowey, he was instead teleported to a long hallway that looked like the ruins. He also noticed his body had returned to normal, and he wasn't a yellow, faceless husk anymore. Still, Clover began running again, the sharp vines that poked out of the ground beginning to lag behind them as he outsped them. As he ran, the hallway began shifting into different styles. One like the dark ruins, one like Snowden, one like Waterfall and Hotland, before finally shifting into a strange dark hallway Clover wasn't familiar with. But before long, the hallway became completely dark, and the ringing in Clover's head began to quiet down before there was nothing but pure silence. Feeling as if he had finally escaped, Clover slowed down and continued walking through the sightless hallway with a nervous look on his face. As he walked, Clover could hear Flowey's voice echoing in the distance.
Mother, where are you, buddy? Come back here.
Then Clover finally spotted what looked like a gray pathway surrounded by the darkness. Walking onto it, he began to see what looked like a field full of gray, dead flowers, all of them looking eerily similar to Flowey. Walking through the field, Clover began to hear some of the gray flowers speaking, but he couldn't make sense of anything they said, for all the voices sounded either scared or desperate, as if these dead Floweys were calling for help, but nobody came in response. Walking past the field, Clover came across a single dead Flowey surrounded by darkness, a massive gaping hole in his face. Once he got close enough, the flower began speaking.
What have I done?
Then the flower suddenly shot out of the ground, quickly growing long plant-like limbs before charging full speed at Clover. He shrieked as he covered his face with his arms and braced for an attack that never came. Opening his eyes, Clover found himself in an environment that looked just like the dunes. This particular place still looked unfamiliar, though, and it gave Clover an unnerving feeling that he couldn't ignore. But this place also looked fake in a way. With nothing else to do, Clover pressed on forward. After a minute of walking, Clover nervously gulped as he continued stepping forward when
Clover, is that you?
What? I can't speak. What? Kaneko, you're. Where are we?
I remember we were on that roof, but if we're in the dunes now, we could head to the Wild East. Maybe we'll find the others there. Oh my god, I really want to come with you. I don't know why, but I'm really scared. But as long as we're together, we'll be fine, right?
Stay back. Are you really Kaneko? You died right in front of me.
What? Of course it's me, Clover. Please, just put down the gun and come here. I could really use a hug.
You. Not only do you murder her in cold blood, but you have the gall to imitate her in front of me.
After everything, do you seriously not trust me, Clover? You never actually cared for me, huh? You're the reason I died after all. Well, I did. You're my friend, Clover. No, even more than that. I love you, Clover. I love you. I found you.
Clover shot the fake Kaneko charging at him, causing her to stumble back before melting down into a messed up, colorful puddle. Clover grimaced at the sight, quickly turning around to walk forward. He seemed to almost walk off the edge into a completely dark void, leaving the fake dunes area behind. Clover went further and further and further, with no end in sight. But then something made him stop. As he heard distant thunder noises, he looked up to see a large, flower-shaped silhouette, barely lit by the occasional lightning strikes in the distance. Then a loud lightning strike happened right near Clover, causing his vision to suddenly go white. When the light cleared, Clover uncovered his eyes and looked up as his eyes widened in horror. Staring down at him was Flowey, or what seemed to be him. He was massive, towering over Clover with hundreds of gray strings attached to his head, leading to nowhere. His head was entirely gray with a strange, almost hand-drawn texture. But the worst part was his face, now having much more realistic features. His eyes were still big, but his small pupils stared right into Clover's soul. Flowey's mouth was an inhumanly wide grin, showing his uncannily realistic teeth. Flowey's maniacal grin grew wider as he stared down at the terrified Clover.
Howdy. Had fun with your little girlfriend back there? You really thought you could escape from me, did you, pal? You're quite the vigilant one, I'll give you that. I really didn't expect you to get this far. I bet you could even have outlasted Asgore with this kind of determination if you even bothered to reach him. Your choices in this timeline, though, they're useless to me now. And I'll admit, I hated every moment of it. The moment you met that stupid little fox, you became insufferable to deal with. Just distraction after distraction. Oh, the joy I felt when I saw the light leave her innocent little eyes.
Clover trembled as he heard Flowey speak those words, and it was soon that all of his fear would turn into pure rage. He gritted his teeth before glaring up at Flowey while pulling his revolver out of his holster. Flowey laughed as he saw this.
Oh, I touched a nerve, did I? If it's a fight you want, Clover, I'll be more than happy to indulge. As long as you keep it interesting for me, that is. Besides, life's all about the thrill. Fun your experiences are. Our time here has been way better than any interaction we could have out there, and I'm not looking for it to end anytime soon. Of course, if it can't last forever. Oh, of course it can't last forever. Once I finally overtake your soul, I'll kill Asgore. Or I'll absorb all those poor children's souls you selfishly chose to abandon. And then, and only then, I will become God.
Clover's breathing became heavier as he steeled himself. He was afraid, very afraid, but after everything Flowey did, after everything he put him through, Clover will make him pay, no matter the cost or how impossible it may seem. Flowey may think he's in control, that he's just toying with Clover, but he's determined to prove him wrong. Clover glared up defiantly at Flowey, his only goal now to make Flowey regret he ever laid a vine on his real friend, on his real best friend. Flower had a sadistic smile on his face, barely able to contain his excitement.
For now, this is only the beginning. So please, put up a good fight. Let's entertain each other for a while longer. After all, in this world, it's kill or be killed.
Great work.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
That was a short one.
No buildings, how could you?